you want to look in the this side of the gun, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see the sight there. Controls for the guns are up higher up there.
It's amazing that somebody actually fit inside of this thing.
Yeah. The little charging handles for the guns are.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I like to point out the guy's sitting in there, and you got two 50 caliber machine guns going off right by your head.
That's got to be a little nerve-wracking. Can I just look at this before I actually go inside of it?
Yeah. I want to get.
I won't go in until I actually do the tour, but. Okay. Wow, look at that. Oh, that's cool. It's pretty neat, man. So this would hold, what, 8,000 pounds?
8,000 pounds. So I'm sure they stuffed more in.
Yeah.
So long as they were sitting there.
Wow, they're on both sides, left and right then, huh?
These are 500-pound bombs.
I didn't know it was left and right like that. That's something I learned. Okay. Oh yeah, I guess so, to walk through the center track area.
Yeah.
Boy, that had to be a little nerve-wracking if it was open and you had to cross for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so he's coming in on the signal of that radio station. This is a
And we have a gentleman that actually flew as a pilot on these things. He said. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Is
30 missions.
Holy smokes. During combat missions?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. World War II vet right there. Pilot B17. All right, stepping into the B17. Wow. This is awesome. Wow, wait.
So we're in the waist gunner position. You can see the magazines. Typically they were built of plywood to save the aluminum. 50 caliber machine guns. Simple sights.
Can I touch it?
Yeah. Just
Oh my gosh.
careful.
This is so awesome.
Oxygen, aircraft oxygen.
Where's the oxygen? Right up there?
Yeah, they would just
Oh, okay.
clip these hoses into their oxygen masks, and then that was the green bottles were the portable oxygen, and they had little blinkers and indicators for how their oxygen was doing.
We got the tail section down there.
Tail section, so the tail gunner, once they were in the air, the tail gunner would have to crawl down there through there to get back to his position.
Is it okay to crawl back there? Or?
No.
No? All right. Well, this was fun just checking it out. What about the nose section?
Yeah, we'll get you up there.
It's kind of narrow back towards the tail, huh?
Yeah. This is
I'm like a kid in a candy store, Rich. I mean, this is just such a special treat.
this is the hatch that they would open up, once they were in the air.
This had to be scary as hell for those guys. I can't even imagine. You're up 10, 15, 20,000 feet, whatever it was, and you open up the window, and there's no pressurization, and you're freezing, and you're on portable oxygen, and you got Germans shooting at you, and you're trying to protect the aircraft with 50 caliber machine guns shooting down the bad guys. Wow.
And the skin here is thinner than a dime, so it wouldn't stop any.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. And everything is mechanical, right?
Yep.
No electrical stuff for the most part.
Typically they had dual systems, so that if one got hit, the other would
Redundancy, huh?
redundancy. This is a radio antenna. There's didn't particularly point it out, but there's a big lead ball outside there, so they could. This is HF antenna. They could just reel out a couple hundred feet of antenna
Wow.
once they were in the air.
Oh, is that right? Is that what they did?
Mm-hmm.
To get better radio signal, huh?
Well, HF for lower frequency, you need a higher antenna, whereas they use VHF for.
So they'd roll it out, then reel it back in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is something I did not know.
Not every airplane would need it all the time, but it would be, for talking long distances, especially in the Pacific where you want to,
Yeah.
you're flying from the U.S. to Hawaii and you want to let them know where you are. This is a ball turret. You can see the mechanism. Yeah, so it can just keep going around and around. Everything goes around with it.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. Scary though. I heard statistically this was actually one of the better positions, except for the one guy that was stuck and the wheels were shot
Yeah.
and they had to belly land it, and that wasn't such a good situation.
Yeah,
I heard one of those stories like that. That's unbelievable.
That's certainly
tragic.
what everybody's heard. And that's a life raft, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Why don't I see if I can get one of the guys to...
Sure.
Yeah, the aircraft.
Talking to Charlie now. Rich, Charlie's giving me the inside tour, a little
I'm
more
trying.
detail.
At any rate, when they're fighting a war, it's all about weight.
Okay.
And any excess weight on the aircraft that they did not need in order to make a bomb run, they removed. So the first thing they would do is remove that engine because it's a couple hundred pounds. That's one bomb. And if they could take one bomb, they did. And then they would just shoot
Auxiliary
an extra
power unit, you said, right? Okay.
And what that would do is while the aircraft was sitting on the ground, without the engines running, it would operate all the electrical system.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Now, there's wing surfaces on the aircraft, and I'm pretty sure my friend probably explained that to you, that are actually fabric. And that was to save not only weight, but also to save aluminum for other things.
Okay.
So anywhere that they could use fabric or wood instead of metal to save the metal, they did. So these are actual ammunition boxes, just like the original.
Wow.
And so it was lighter, and they could repair them easily, and they didn't have to waste precious metals on ammunition boxes.
Wow.
So moving forward, here we have the...
I didn't know the plane was made out of fabric. That's something that I learned today too.
Yeah. It's actually just some of the control surfaces. The rest of it is aluminum.
Yeah.
But a lot of the control surfaces are fabric.
And this stuff is pretty thin, I
About
understand.
the thickness of a dime.
That's unbelievable.
Yep.
Wow.
Now here we have, this is typical of an F model. Your G model, what they did, besides the chin turner, is they pulled one back so that we wouldn't be back to back here. That made it very, very confining.
Yeah.
And of course, when we're in here fighting, we've got a ton of clothing on, including a heated suit. We've got a flak jacket. We're hooked up to oxygen, electricity, radios, the whole 9 yards. So you got enough to worry about. So when they did that, I think that made life a lot easier back here, at least in terms of getting around. It wasn't any safer, but at least it was a lot easier.
I forgot about that. So we're on the F model, and they're right against one another. On the G model, they staggered the guns, made it a lot easier, more efficient.
Now this M2 Browning machine gun, 50 caliber, hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot since it was first invented. 50 caliber round means the circumference of the bullet is a ½ inch, so it's a pretty big round.
Yep.
And of course, Army bolts. And the way they were trained was to fire in 2 to 3 second bursts only.
Okay.
And that was because the way that we went to war with this airplane, Curtis LeMay came up with what's called the box formation.
Right.
And each squadron had 13 aircraft. 12 would form the mission with a spare in case one of them couldn't go. And so you flew out of your squadron in 3 B formations. They were semi-Bs. The lead aircraft would be the forward one. You'd have 1 to starboard and then 2 to port.
Right.
And that would be like the lead element. And then there would be a second B that would be higher and a little off to starboard, and a third one that would be lower and a little off to port. And that was the formation, looking for the other squadrons to form into your wing, and then eventually the group that was going over.
Yep.
And so that allowed all of these guns to cover for the shots. All of a sudden, they didn't have just one gun on the starboard side. You had many guns. And so they were trained to just fight, in a specific area, so they wouldn't shoot the tail off, and you wouldn't waste your ammunition. 600 rounds per minute muzzle velocity on this weapon.
600 rounds per minute?
Per minute.
Wow.
So you would melt the barrel if you did that. Plus, you're not going to carry 600 rounds, and you don't want to waste the ammunition.
Yeah.
The max that they would carry is about 200 rounds per weapon.
Is that right?
Yeah.
200 rounds per mission?
Per weapon.
Wow.
And that was it, because, well, if you're trying to fight off an aircraft doing 400 to 450 miles an hour, it's not going to be in your gun sight very long anyway.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is just hit short bursts, and you're going to send quite a few rounds out there. And if you hit him, you're going to do damage.
Yeah.
And so they did land sometimes with ammunition left. Sometimes they would spent.
Gotcha.
Now back here we have the ball turret.
Yep.
And I imagine he let you look inside of it, so you got a pretty good handle on
Yeah,
it.
from outside, yeah.
Holy smoke, and that fetal position the guy had.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Well, he was, generally speaking, the very last person to assume his fighting position, and that was because it's so convoluted on how he had to get in here. First of all, on takeoff, they would rotate the turret so the guns were facing aft.
Yeah.
And when they did that, then that would bring the hatch, that hatch would come up and be facing forward to close. And then they would rotate, once airborne, and they were at about 10,000 feet, and the order came for everybody to assume their positions. Then they would rotate inside, they would rotate the gun and the turret 90 degrees, and that would bring the hatch inside the aircraft. And then he would go in there and get all hooked up and everything and ready to rock and roll. They'd close him up, and then he would arm his guns. So it was a little more convoluted for him to get in there. And he was also the first one they wanted to get out of his fighting position.
Gotcha.
Because they couldn't land. If they had to belly the airplane in, there's no way he would survive.
Yeah.
Because even though this is the strongest part of the aircraft, really this turret is part of the safest fighting position because of the thickness of the metal, it would not withstand the entire weight of the aircraft if they had to belly in. So they wanted him out of there, and they wanted him out of there fast.
Gotcha.
2 main radios on here, the liaison radio and the command radio. Now the liaison radio was the one that the radio operator used to talk with the ground and what have you. And that spool of wire right there is part of the radio. And actually, he had a separate radio for each one of the frequencies that he might have to use during a mission. Mm-hmm. And what he would do is run the wire out as far as 200 feet to try and find the strongest signal for each one of those frequencies every time he had to change the radio.
Wow.
Above your head here, these are the control cables, and we have a redundant system, port and starboard. And so if you run into some battle damage and you lose a full set of these cables on either side, well, you can still fly the aircraft with the cables on the other side. And above your head is the plug-in for the heat, for the heated suits of the soldiers fighting back here. So they were plugged into heat, oxygen, and radios.
Wow. That's
Now,
unbelievable.
these airplanes, of course, not insulated. They're not pressurized. When you open up these portals to swing those guns out, especially at 25,000 feet, the temperature is going to be between 40 and 60 degrees below zero, and the noise level here is going to be just incredible.
I bet it was cold.
Oh yeah, the only way to communicate was via radio. And not via radio where we would be talking into something, but you would have a throat mic picking up the vibrations from the vocal cords.
I see.
And that's what the radio operator also had. Because otherwise, you wouldn't be able to hear each other. Now this is the onboard oxygen system. If for some reason you have to leave your position, let's say the tail gunner is in distress, and one of us has to go back to check on him. Well, we can unplug from the oxygen, but we're not going to last very long before hypoxia takes over and you eventually will succumb to it. So at all the stations, you have those green bottles, those portable bottles. So you would unhook from the master system, plug and grab one of those and hook it into your system, and you can walk back there with it. You have about 8 minutes to find out if there was anything you could help him with, or if you needed something, and then come right back and hook back into your main system.
Wow.
Now this canvas bag over here is one of the most important parts of the aircraft. This is what's called the Gibson radio. And if you're familiar with Gibson girls, you ever heard of a Gibson girl?
No, I can't say I have actually. Is that like a life raft or something?
Yes, it is. No, not a life raft. It's actually a radio.
Oh.
And Gibson was an artist at the turn of the century.
Okay.
And he drew, his favorite subject were women in these tight corsets. And what
Okay.
they had, so they created a little V shape.
All right.
And so the radio is shaped the same way, so that you can trap it between your legs and then put the hand cranks in and crank it.
Oh, wow.
And that's why they call it a Gibson radio. So
Okay.
we're going to have to ditch the airplane either in the ocean or in a forest or in the desert. And the only way that we can stay in contact, I mean, you can't, all you can do is you can broadcast where you're at, but they'll be homing in on it, and this will save your life. You can get up to 200 miles worth of signal out there.
Okay.
And so it's very important, and generally speaking, it would either be one of the two waist gunners or the radio man would have that responsibility of the abandoned ship order came. Grab this, pull the ripcord, throw it out, whatever hatch you're going out, follow it.
So it has a parachute attached to it.
Yeah, parachute's right on top.
All right.
Here's your ripcord.
I
Pull
see.
that and throw it out the window.
Wow.
And then follow it.
Unbelievable. I
And
didn't
that
know
was
about
going to
that.
save your life.
Okay.
Now we'll go to the radio room.